Ever get those late night urges to like scroll through career websites?
Oh, yeah.
You know, the ones that make you go, what if?
Yeah.
Well, I had one of those nights recently.
Okay.
And I went down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And it led me to RoleCatcher's
That's-
in-depth guide on, wait for it,
Okay.
becoming a psychic.
Becoming a psychic.
Yeah, psychic. Can you
Yeah.
imagine, like, if that was
Yeah.
a real career path?
And you thought choosing between like marketing and graphic design was tough.
Seriously. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
They've laid out this psychic career path.
Right.
Like, it's a regular 9 to 5
Wow.
with stages and skills to master and
Interesting.
the whole shebang.
Wow. Okay. So they've really structured it.
Buckle up,
Yeah.
because we're about to deep dive into the surprisingly structured world of professional psychics.
That's fascinating. It's interesting how they've taken this concept of,
Yeah.
intuition and extrasensory perception and presented it as this like tangible career choice. You know, like you could see that listed on like a job board or something.
Like, there's a whole business model here.
It sounds like it, yeah.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Yeah.
let's address the elephant in the room.
Okay.
What does a psychic actually do
Yeah.
day in and day out?
Day to day, that's a great question. I'm curious about that too. RoleCatcher, and this is interesting.
Okay.
They use very specific language.
Okay.
They say psychics claim
Okay.
to utilize extrasensory talents to gain insight
Okay.
into people's lives,
Uh-huh.
future events,
Mm-hmm.
even like hidden situations. It's subtle, but that careful wording
Yeah.
speaks volumes.
It does. It's like they're acknowledging the skepticism,
Right.
but also diving headfirst into the how-to of it all.
Exactly.
So we're not here to debate the existence of ESP or anything like that.
Right. Right.
We're on a fact-finding mission today.
I like it.
What's fascinating to me is how
Yeah.
RoleCatcher breaks down the day-to-day of this profession.
Right.
It's not all like crystal balls and cryptic pronouncements, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Not at all. They delve into
Yeah.
how psychics provide guidance on things that I think like we can all relate to: relationships, career paths, finances, even health concerns. They're really tapping into those like universal anxieties we all have, right?
Totally.
Will I find love?
Yeah.
Am I on the right path?
Right.
It's interesting how they position themselves within those very
Yeah.
human needs.
It's almost like they're framing themselves as like
Yeah.
specialized advisors
Right.
using these alleged abilities to provide clarity.
Right, to kind of, cut through the noise and give you some
Yeah.
direction.
And I noticed they mentioned traditional practices like tarot,
right.
palmistry, astrology. Is that about that? Yeah.
Adding a tangible element.
Yes, absolutely. I think these tools provide a framework, a structure
Okay.
that even skeptics can like recognize.
Okay.
It's like the difference between a therapist having like a notepad versus a dream journal.
Right.
The notepad just feels more kind of concrete.
Right. Right.
Even if the dream journal might hold deeper insights.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
That's true.
It makes you wonder if it's as much about managing client expectations as it is about
Absolutely.
tapping into the mystical.
I think so too.
So what's the deal with this whole apprenticeship thing?
Okay.
Are we talking about inheriting a crystal ball from your like psychic grandmother, or
like how does this work?
Not quite. It seems the path to becoming a psychic isn't about mystical inheritance.
Okay.
They highlight the importance of starting with an apprenticeship
Okay.
under a more seasoned psychic.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's about learning the ropes from someone who's been there, done that.
Hold on, a psychic apprenticeship? That sounds like something straight out of a fantasy novel.
It does.
What do you even learn in a psychic apprenticeship?
I know.
Is there a curriculum, a syllabus? Like, how does that...
Right, like are there textbooks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Think of it less as like a traditional apprenticeship and more as like an internship for your intuition.
An internship for your intuition.
Yeah, you're shadowing an experienced psychic, observing how they interact with clients, handle different personalities and requests, and navigate ethically delicate waters.
So it's not just about whether you can
Right.
see the future.
It's not just about the...
Yeah. It's about how you communicate it.
Exactly. It's about turning those, supposed insights into actionable advice.
Yeah.
Offering comfort and guiding clients through their concerns. Essentially, it's client management.
Okay.
But with a mystical twist.
With a mystical twist. Yeah.
Exactly.
It really humanizes the whole profession, doesn't it?
It does.
You're not just dealing with cosmic forces. You're dealing with people and their very real problems.
Absolutely.
It makes those ethical considerations even more crucial.
For sure. RoleCatcher actually goes into a decent amount of detail about the different stages of a psychic's career.
Okay.
After your apprenticeship, you move into the junior psychic phase.
Okay.
This is where you're building your client base, refining your techniques, and figuring out your niche, I guess, within this unusual market. Yeah.
So you're not just handed like a crystal ball and a business card after your apprenticeship. It's interesting how they've incorporated those kind of traditional career milestones into this unconventional field.
That's right.
What does refining your techniques even mean in this context?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when we think about refining techniques, we often think about things that are maybe a little more tangible.
Right, right.
It's about more than just practicing tarot spreads or learning new astrological interpretations.
Right.
This really delves into the nuances of delivering readings. Reading, like subtle cues from your clients. And framing predictions in a way that kind of empowers rather than overwhelms. Right.
Yeah.
It's about honing that balance between empathy and those kind of supposedly extraordinary abilities, right?
That sounds like there's a lot of psychology involved.
Yeah, for sure.
Understanding how people process information.
Right.
And how to guide them through these sensitive topics.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder, like, can anyone develop these abilities? Or is there a certain something you need to have to
like, do you have to be
to succeed?
Born with it?
Yeah.
Or can you kind of learn it? That's a great question.
Right.
RoleCatcher seems to lean towards the anyone can learn philosophy.
Okay, interesting.
They emphasize practice, training, and developing your kind of like intuitive muscle, just like you would any other skill.
Interesting.
They even talk about the importance of networking within psychic circles, attending workshops, and continuously kind of learning from more experienced practitioners.
So it's not enough to just be good at like reading tarot cards. You need to kind of like...
It's a business,
market yourself and build a client base.
Yeah, the hassle.
And network with others in your field. It's like any other freelance career, just with a more intangible service, I guess you could say.
With a little more, a little more mystique.
And eventually, you could reach those like senior psychic levels.
Yeah, you would.
What does that even look like?
Yeah, so imagine becoming like the go-to psychic.
Okay.
The one with like years of experience.
Okay.
A loyal clientele.
Right.
Maybe even a waiting list.
Wow.
You might specialize in a particular area, develop your own kind of unique approach to readings, or even start mentoring aspiring psychics yourself, passing on your knowledge and insights to the next generation.
Wow. So you could build like a whole brand around your psychic abilities.
It's like you become the kind of like Oprah of psychics. You have your own school. You have your own like slew of other psychics that you've kind of brought up.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
It really reframes that whole mystic advisor trope, doesn't it?
And throughout all of this, RoleCatcher keeps coming back to the importance of ethics.
Okay.
Especially in an industry that's kind of largely unregulated.
That's a point they emphasize repeatedly, isn't it?
They do, yeah.
What specific ethical considerations do they highlight?
So, first and foremost, client confidentiality.
Okay.
Just like any other counseling profession, you're dealing with people's vulnerabilities, their deepest fears and hopes. You know, you can't go blabbing that around.
Right, right. Of course, yeah.
They also talk about, like, setting realistic expectations.
Right.
Not making promises you can't keep. And recognizing when a client's needs might be better served by, like, a different professional.
Right. Like a therapist.
Yeah, exactly. Like a therapist or a counselor or something.
It's about knowing your boundaries and prioritizing the client's well-being above all else.
Your job is to help them not to kind of take advantage of the situation.
That makes sense, especially when you're dealing with people who might be in a vulnerable state.
Yeah. They're coming to you for guidance, for reassurance.
And navigating that skepticism must be a constant challenge.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher suggests handling that skepticism with grace and respect.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging different viewpoints without kind of compromising your own integrity or belief.
Right. It's a delicate balance, isn't it? It's like holding on to your own convictions while also creating that safe space for people who might not share them.
Oh, it's a tough one.
You know, for our listener who might be thinking, okay, this is fascinating, but like, what's the takeaway for me?
Right.
What are the key insights we can glean from this deep dive, even if we don't plan on hanging up a psychic advisor shingle anytime soon?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What can we
extrapolate
away from this? It's easy to dismiss this as this like niche career path, but there's a lot we can learn from how RoleCatcher has kind of framed it. The emphasis on empathy, active listening, building like genuine connections. Those are all like universally valuable skills.
Regardless of your profession.
Regardless of what you do,
It's like they've taken the core principles of good communication and client interaction.
Absolutely.
And applied them to this unconventional field.
Unconventional field.
Right.
That's exactly.
Right. And that whole idea of like honing your intuition, trusting your gut feeling.
Right.
Those are valuable tools in any decision-making process, whether you're closing a business deal or choosing what to have for dinner, you know?
Totally.
It's about tapping into that inner wisdom we all possess, even if we don't always acknowledge it.
That's right.
And beyond the like practical skills, this deep dive sparks some fascinating questions about the nature of intuition, the power of belief, the ways we seek.
How we find meaning in a kind of sometimes chaotic world. Exactly.
It's like that saying, the universe whispers before it shouts. Maybe we all have a little bit of that psychic potential within us.
That's right.
Even if it's not about predicting the winning lottery numbers, you know?
Exactly. And who knows? Maybe that's like the most valuable lesson of all.
Right.
It's about approaching life with that sense of wonder, acknowledging the possibility of something like beyond our current understanding.
Speaking of which, you mentioned that RoleCatcher included potential interview questions for aspiring psychics.
That's right.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
I know. It's like, can you imagine prepping?
Imagine prepping.
Talk about a mind-bending experience.
I know, right? What kind of questions are we even talking about here?
Okay, so don't worry.
Okay.
It's not about like guessing the interviewer's star sign or anything like that.
Okay.
It's not like a test of your abilities.
Right.
Instead of focusing on like proving those abilities, the questions center around how a potential psychic would handle real world situations. Things like dealing with skeptical clients. Managing ethical dilemmas. Or setting boundaries in client relationships.
So it's less about can you move this object with your mind?
Right.
And more about how do you respond to someone who doubts your every word?
Exactly. And I think what's so interesting about that is it really highlights the human element of this profession. Right? The importance of empathy, communication, ethical conduct.
It's those qualities that truly make or break.
It's funny because those are the things that make or break any career, really. It's not always about the technical skills.
That's about how you deal with people.
How you, how you show up.
That's such a good point. It's like they're saying, okay, even if you can tap into this unseen world, you still need to navigate the very real world of client expectations, professional boundaries.
Right. It's like having superpowers, but also needing to like do your taxes.
And like show up on time.
Exactly.
It adds a whole other layer of complexity to this career path, doesn't it?
It does. And you know, I was thinking about this. For those of us who might be a little more kind of
grounded.
Yes, thank you. In the tangible. It offers a fascinating perspective on our own career journeys. You know, think about it. Those interview questions as unconventional as they seem, they force a level of
Oh,
introspection
right.
that most of us rarely engage in.
Right. We don't ask ourselves those questions.
Right. Like, when was the last time you sat down and thought,
okay,
wait, how do I...
What's my approach?
Yeah. What's my approach
Yeah.
to handling a skeptical client?
What are my ethics?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you really think
It does.
about how you show up
Yeah.
in the world. Yeah.
This whole deep dive has been surprisingly insightful.
It has, hasn't it?
Who knew a career guide for psychics could offer so much food for thought?
I know.
About communication and ethics and the power of intuition.
Yeah.
Even for us non-psychics.
Exactly. We can all use a little bit more intuition in our lives, right?
It's true. It's true.
It's a good reminder
Yeah.
that sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the most profound discoveries.
It's about approaching life with curiosity.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Seeking those aha moments wherever we can find them.
Love that.
No.
Well said.
Thank you.
It's like we've peeked behind the curtain of not just the psychic profession, but also into like the human desire for connection and guidance.
Yeah.
And maybe even a little bit of magic in our lives.
A little bit of magic. Absolutely.
And whether you approach that with like a healthy dose of skepticism or an open mind, it's those questions, those what ifs.
It's the curiosity
that keep us engaged and learning.
100%.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of professional psychics, here's a final thought for our listeners.
Love it.
The next time you're faced with a tough decision, a career crossroads,
or even just a moment of uncertainty, take a moment to tune into your own intuition. You might be surprised by the wisdom you find there.
Such a good point. And hey, who knows? Maybe you have a hidden talent for reading tea leaves or interpreting dreams.
There you go.
Give it a try.
Until next time.
Yes.
Stay curious.
Keep exploring.
Keep exploring.
And remember, the most fascinating journeys are often the ones we least expect.
Yes. I love that. Beautiful.